In the year 2024, one only can ask, is the world on brink of World War III or societal collapse? Is it a dumpster fire happening? Well, I have a unique set of skills to make such analysis. I am a former United States naval officer. I have a master's of business administration. For decades, I was a chief information officer of several New York Stock Exchange listed companies. And finally, I taught strategic planning and management at a major university. And I maintain what I call the Dakota Intelligent Information System, where I'm tracking over 30 possibilities that could be threats to national and worldwide stability. Now, each of those deserves its own in-depth study. It's a very complex situation, but let me touch on just what I consider the top 12. And these 12 are not in any particular order. The first one is a concern about China, led by the Chinese Communist Party, invading Taiwan. I would like to think that that would not happen this year. Xi Jinping, the head of China and the Chinese Communist Party, he came up through the ranks. One can only assume he's a very intelligent man. He's very cunning. He can be ruthless at times. But he's a grandmaster at global and national organization and manipulation. So I think in the year 2024, there's probably only a 20% chance that he would invade Taiwan, but it's an area of immense importance, because if China invades Taiwan, in all likelihood the United States will have to get involved. I think Japan will get involved, and it easily could escalate to a thermonuclear war. The second area that's extremely important is Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. Who would have ever imagined that we would have had a tank warfare going on in Europe post-1945? This deserves another in-depth analysis, which I will do at a later time. But once again, I'm relying on personalities. Putin came up through the ranks. He was a KGB colonel, and then finally he got to where he is now, as in effect the supreme leader of Russia. So one can only assume, once again, a very intelligent person, very cunning, very ruthless, but he's a grandmaster at national and global affairs. A third possibility is in North Korea. Now, Kim Jong-un did not come up through the ranks. He had inherited his position as the supreme leader in North Korea from his father, who had inherited it from his father. Now, Kim Jong-un did have some high school years in Europe where he lived somewhat of a normal life, but he could be a real wild card. And the fact that he has nuclear weapons, while very threatening to the global security, it does illustrate he can be quite cunning on what he does. But this guy, on a weekly basis, he threatens to, take all of America and set it on fire. So that's another area we have to be concerned with. I think he will do some provocative things in 2024, but I don't believe he'll start World War III. The fourth rogue country is Iran. Now, this is largely led by religious zealots, and they love fostering sedition and terrorism throughout the Middle East. And if they're not close to having nuclear weapons, it won't be long. And all four of these countries have also significant cyber warfare tools. A fifth area that's very troubling will be the national elections in America. We've had 2 elections that, well, let's be honest, they were contested in many ways. And we well could have a third one. Now, at the current time, it looks like President Biden and President Trump will be the 2 front runners, and that could be and will be the clash of titans. It could also easily lead to yet a third contested election and significant civil discord. 6 is artificial intelligence. Now, I don't believe that will have a material impact in 2024, but it is so powerful. There is no question in the next 15 to 20 years it will revolutionize the entire world. And it is an example, not only is it a threat, but it's also a great opportunity. It can make many, many enhancements in so many professional fields. As I've sort of alluded to before, the 7th area is that of cyber warfare. This has really come into its own. I understand that hackers can get on the black web and download applications that will allow them to do tremendously powerful things, and they're not even really that proficient as programmers. Plus, many countries, certainly Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran, have significant hacker warfare abilities. 8 is mass migration. Peter Zeihan, one of the leading geopolitical thinkers of our time, in his latest book called The End of the World is Just the Beginning, talks about significant changes that will take place in the next 15 to 20 years as far as deglobalization, and that will have significant impacts on various regional areas. And there's an old adage within the biological field that when the environment dramatically changes, that you either adapt, migrate, or die. And so we've seen a significant amount of migration, but we will only see more. And this could affect elections, it could affect the supply chain, food distribution. It is a clear area that we need to watch. The next area is number 9, which is the debt crisis. The entire world is floating on debt, virtually every major country. In the United States alone, we have 32 trillion worth of debt, and this is a time bomb waiting to happen. Number 10 is food insecurity. With the deglobalization of the world, we're going to see significant supply chain disruptions and food production disruptions. 11 is, I'll call it, energy insecurity. It's estimated that we've used about 1 trillion barrels of oil, and estimates of what the remaining supply is complex, but they're estimating about 1.6 trillion is still left. So how we utilize that remaining stocks of oil supplies will be significant, and will have ramifications geopolitically. The 12th area that I think is of particular importance also is electromagnetic energy pulses that could literally take down the whole United States electrical grid. Now, there is a possibility you could have a magnetic impulse from the sun, but it's pretty unlikely, although it has happened in the past. But many countries now have both cyber capabilities and nuclear weapons that could cause what's called an electric magnetic pulse, which could bring down the net of our electrical grid. So many threats are out there. It reminds me of Tom Hanks' movie Greyhound, where He's the captain of a destroyer fighting a pack of German submarines, and at several parts of the movie there's all these torpedoes in the water, and Tom Hanks' character, with incredible seamanship, managed to avoid all of them. Well, I'm afraid with so many torpedo threats in the water at this point, the America and globally, there's going to be some big explosions. So I will do some deep dives on each one of these threat areas in the future, and be prepared.